Here's the proof that I am in fact I am doing this for SDI. Effectively, I read the assignment and went, oh, I don't know what that is. Wouldn't it be funny if I tried to figure out what they were before I read it? Not the brightest idea, but hey, you know. I also read that it was use an outside source, and well, technically I'm an outside source, so I'm gonna source myself, cause that'll hold up in court. Don't worry, I did, source some other websites too. Double check stuff afterwards. Yeah. Should mention, I already finished the assignment. I actually didn't realize I was supposed to record it. I have it all written down here. So that's what I'm reading off of. If I look at my screen and I look really confused, it's because I wrote a lot of big words because I thought I was supposed to hit a word count. So, so my understanding to begin with was, the first phase, the internal phase, was just everything was. Nothing was happening inside. It was literally just everything was there, like no action, right? And the transitional phase was when stuff started to happen. That's where the primer was struck, and the anvil did the thing the anvil does and ignites the powder. And then I thought the external phase was when it went out the barrel. Terminal, I thought, was like, what happened? Like, how did the bullet perform on target? And for the most part, I was right. I'll take it. The only part that I really messed up was the fact that the internal phase was where everything happened inside of the gun. The transitional phase was going from in the gun to out the gun. The external phase was out the gun, and then was the outside of the gun portion, and then the terminal phase was on target. So I was mostly right. I was just a little confused. Some other sources pretty much said the same thing as what the paper said, because it's really hard to mess it up. It's really hard to find a different way to say it other than in, going out, hit target. So, yeah. Sectional density is the projectile's mass to the diameter, the ratio. Sectional density does not include shape or velocity. It's just the ratio, it's just the ratio of the mass to a cross-sectional area. It assumes the ratios being compared are the same, those being caliber and mass. As the difference between the mass and diameter gets higher, the sectional density, hereby referred to as SD, unless otherwise stated, also gets higher. For example, a ratio of 3:1, mass to diameter, infers that the SD is higher than a ratio of 2:1 and 1 to 0.5. High SD projectiles are affected by air drag less due to the low surface area and retain more kinetic energy due to higher mass. SD is used to determine what round to use for a task. A smaller SD might be more suited for smaller animals or home defense, where you do not need to penetrate a harder or tougher surface or body, while a higher SD could be used for larger creatures or generally thicker barriers. While a high SD can perform similar tasks to an armor-piercing round, they do not have a similar effect on target due to their differences in construction. However, having a higher SD can make penetration easier. Another consideration when looking at a projectile's SD is the equal and opposite reaction generated when firing, called recoil. A smaller SD will generate a lighter recoil than a higher SD because of the lower mass.